Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Piyush and this is video number 7 in the series Azure DevOps Zero to Hero. And this particular video will be focusing on Azure Artifacts and everything about it will be doing with the help of a real-time project. So let's have a look at the topics that we're gonna cover in today's video. So I have logged into my GitHub repository. Link will be there in the description section as well as the first pinned comment. And I've scrolled down to the section where it says day 7 Azure Artifacts. And the agenda item for today in this video will be looking into setting up a sample project, which is basically a Nike landing page, and we'll implement CICD using Azure Artifacts on that. We'll start with a little bit of overview of Azure Artifacts. What are those? Why do we use it? And the basic nitty gritty of the things. Then we'll set up the infrastructure, including Azure DevOps project, Azure Web App, and then we'll create an Azure Artifact feed to host the package. We'll then create a CI pipeline in YAML, and that builds the package and pushes the package to the feed itself. And then we'll create a release pipeline that consumes the package. And then we'll promote the package to trigger the release pipeline. And then we'll see what are upstream packages in Azure Artifact. I hope you remember this diagram that we have used previously for our project implementation. In that, we had the step of npm install, npm build, and then finally it was publishing the artifact within the pipeline itself so that it can be consumed by other pipelines or other processes, right? So instead of this step, we'll be using Azure Artifacts, and let's have a look how it is done. Okay. So as I mentioned, we are not using this publish artifact stage anymore. Instead, we'll be using something called as artifact. So how it works? It works the similar way. It is a central repository. So why do we need a central repository to store and consume our artifacts? It is for the same reason why we need a source code repository for storing and maintaining our source code, right? Like GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, because we need more control over the packages, because we need to maintain history. We need to make sure that these packages can be audited later at a central repository and it can be consumed by multiple pipelines in multiple projects or within the same project, right? So there are a lot of benefits of using a central artifact repository. Some of the alternatives you might have heard it, Nexus, JFrog Artifactory. So these are also the central package management repositories, just like Azure Artifact that we have, right? So the way it works is, once your build is completed, it is then pushed from the CI pipeline to Azure Artifact. So there is a separate step for it. After npm build, there will be npm publish. And once it is pushed to Artifact, it then goes to a view. So these over here are views. The default view is the local view. The package gets stored in a view. And then once we promote the package from one view to another, let's say we promote it from local to pre-release view, and the trigger that we have set in our release pipeline, deployment to stage, we have set it as a pre-release trigger. I will show you what I mean by that. But consider this: whenever there is a package uploaded to this particular view, this pipeline will be triggered and it will deploy to the stage. Similarly, when we promote the package from pre-release to release view, then this pipeline will be triggered, deploy to prod, and it will perform the deployment to production environment. So this provides more flexibility, this provides more audit and compliance, as we can retain the package for as long as we want. And also we can implement lifecycle rule to delete the older packages after a certain number of days or after a certain number of builds. I will show you that as well. And over here, you see it says upstream sources. So the packages that we are using, we can download the packages from upstream registries as well, such as npm registry, pypi, nuget, maven, gradle, and there are few more registries that are supported, and we can use that as well if we want. So let's proceed further to the next step and set up our infrastructure, including the DevOps project and everything. So I have logged into my Azure DevOps organization, and I'm gonna go over here where it says new project and create a new project for this demo. Let's call it A7 Artifacts. Okay, let's keep everything as default and keep it private project and hit create. Okay, so our project is created. Now let's go to repo and scroll down and import a repository. So I'm gonna import the sample project that we'll be using for this demo. So here is the URL. The details will be available in the README file of day 7 video. So don't worry about it. So here's the URL of Nike landing page and hit import. Let's click here. Okay, now the project is here. I made some changes in package.json of the original project that was forked from some other repository. So the changes that we made, because I was facing some issues for the past 2 days and I was trying to just fix it. That's why there was a delay in publishing this video. So the changes that I've made, I've added basically these two steps over here. So I've added a build step in that I've made some customization because there was an issue with the publishing this project. I will show you the issue when we reach there in the build pipeline. Okay, so that's that's about it. So now let's go to our Azure portal at portal.azure.com. I have logged in already and I'm gonna create an app service from here. Click over here and then hit create and select web app, and then let's create a new resource group A7RG. All right, let's give this website a unique name. I'm gonna call it Tech Tutorials with Piyush. Okay, and select a runtime environment. Let's select Node 18. Okay, let's keep it Linux and then use Canada Central, which is the closest region for me. You can choose as per your convenience. And then it will also create a Linux plan. And let's change the pricing plan to the free tier, which is this one. It has some limitation, but this should be good for our demo because I will not be using slots. That's why I don't need standard or premium plan for this demo. I've already explained that in the previous videos. So I'll just keep it simple, right? And let's hit review and create. Okay, create. So let me pause the video for a brief moment. Okay, it took around a minute and it was completed. So let's go to the resource. And if you remember last time as well, we made some changes. So I'll go to the configuration over here, right? And I will add two new application settings, basically two environment variables to refresh the cache after every deployment. Otherwise, web app will not refresh the cache and you will keep seeing the same results even if you deploy it multiple times. So this we have already discussed in the previous video, but let me add variables. Never. Okay, so this is done. And let's hit save. It will restart the app. And let's go to overview. And let's open the URL from here, from the browse, or you can open it from the default domain as well. Basically, this will redirect you to the same thing. So currently, because we don't have anything up and running, so it should host the default website. Okay, so this is the default landing page for Node.js. So that is what we are seeing now. Let's go back. And so this is up. This is ready. Let's go back to our Azure project and let's hit pipeline and create a new pipeline. Create a new pipeline and our code is there in Azure repos git. Let's select this, select the repo, and then go down, select a starter pipeline. So I will copy the sample pipeline code from the previous project and I will make the customization accordingly. So let's go here. It was YouTube clone, I believe. Go to repos, your pipeline, and I will copy until here. Paste it here. Okay. So now it has one stage which is build. Then it has npm install step and then npm run build. So we need to make some changes. As our project is built in Tailwind CSS, we need to customize this install command and add some parameters. So this is what we'll be adding: npm install -d and Tailwind CSS. Okay, it is showing the error because this is not a default command. So this has to be a custom command. So we need to change it to custom, then hit enter, custom command, and then we can enter the command. Okay, so this is good. Let's hit enter over here and search for npm again. Now we have installed the dependencies, we have built the project. The next command would be to publish it to the feed. Before that, we need to create the feed. We have not created the feed. So let's keep it over here. Let's open the artifact in a new tab. Okay. And let's create a feed by clicking over here. Give it a name. Let's call it day 7 Nike feed. Okay. On the visibility is for the organization members and the scope is for this project. So that's good. Let's hit create. Now, if you want to connect to the feed from a Visual Studio or any other IDE, you can hit over here where it says connect to a feed, and then you can select the feed. So these are all the supported registries that we were talking about. We have .NET, and you get Visual Studio, and then npm, Maven, Gradle, pip, and we have universal packages as well. So universal packages are tar file, zip file, anything that is not recognized by a repository, right? So that's how you can edit it. For example, click over here npm, and it will show you the instructions like how do we do that. Okay. So let's go back. Now we have created a feed. Now we need to publish the package to that feed. It will be visible once you publish it. So that's why it's not visible over here. So let's go back and over here. Okay. So let's keep our cursor over here and then select npm step from here. And this time it will be publish. Okay. And add the working folder that contains package.json. So it should be there in our dist folder because we have made the changes in the package.json. That's why we needed it to be inside the dist folder, right? And then select this, select the registry from here. Otherwise, it will upload it to a public npm registry if we have the access to it, right? So let's click over here, and here is our feed that we have created, which is our target registry. And then let's hit add. Now it will populate the command for you. It is showing some errors. Maybe the indentation is not correct. So let me see. Yeah, okay. So I'll just quickly correct it. So that's good. Now we had made the changes. We have published the feed. We have created everything. Now let's hit save and run. And let's see if we are able to publish the package. So I will just pause the recording for a brief moment. Okay, so it did the code checkout and then it ran npm install, and then it ran npm build as well. There were no issues still here, but it was failed in the next step, which was npm publish. So let's see the error. The error says 403 forbidden, user lacks permission to complete this action. You need to have add package permission. Okay, so I think I know what the issue is, and let's open the artifacts in a new tab. Maybe I've already opened it. Okay, it's there, right? So we need to make sure that our build collection service account and our build user have access to publish to the artifact repository. It should have the contributor access, right? So select the project from this drop down. If you don't select it, sometimes it goes to this organization scope as well, and you can make the mistake. So make sure you select your project from here. And on the right side, you see there'll be a feed setting button. So click on that, right? And this feed setting has different permissions, like you can enable the packages badges and you can enable the package retention as well, like for how many maximum number of version per package that you want to keep and for how many days. Because the services that we are using as part of Azure DevOps, they all are free for first 5 users. But if we are using Azure Artifact, if you remember in the first video we discussed, so Azure Artifact has a limit of 2 GB for the free tier, and anything that goes above that, it will be chargeable for you, right? So make sure you use it within the limits. Okay. And you can enable the retention policy as well if you like. But for now, let's go over here which says permissions, right? So you see this user over here, the build service user, it has collaborator access. What we need is contributor access. So let's delete this. We cannot edit the permissions, so we have to delete it and add it again. And click over here, add users and contributor. Okay, so project collection build service and with the organization name. So this one, contributor, and let's add one more, which is day 7 artifact build service and with the organization name. Make sure you select these two users with the correct format. It should be project collection build service and at the end organization name. The next one is project name, build service, and then the organization name. So these two are what we need. Now we have views as well. As I have told you before, we have 3 views: local, pre-release, and release. Local is the default view. We cannot change it. And we can change pre-release and release view. Like we can rename it and set as default view as well. But if you see over here, we cannot rename it. This one, if we click on add it, we do have the option to rename it. So these are the views. And then we have upstream sources as well. So all the registries that are supported as part of Azure Artifacts, we can use them to download the dependencies, download the packages from these repositories as well in our Azure pipeline, right? So we have made the changes to the feed setting. So let's go back and run the pipeline again. We have already enabled the pipeline trigger. So let's go to repos. Let's just change the version number in the package.json. Let's call it 1.3.0. Hit commit. Okay. Okay, so it should trigger the pipeline. Go to pipeline and pipeline is in progress. Okay, let's go to build and it is currently progressing. Okay, so this time it got completed. Let's go to the npm publish step and it says it ran the publish command. It finished it. It published it to the internal repository after packaging it, right? And this was a tzz file. Okay, and so let's go to Azure feed now and let's go back and maybe hit refresh. Okay, so the package is available over here. This is the name of the build and this is the version that we have updated in package.json. Okay, click on that. It will have all the details about the build, when it was uploaded, about its respective code commit in the Git repos, and other metadata along with it, like dependencies and everything, right? And all the available versions will be available over here. Currently, we only have one version. And if you go back, right, so this is currently in our local view. If you change it to any other view, you don't see anything because we have not promoted anything yet. So till now we have created the package, we have built it, and we have published it to the artifact repository. It's there in the local feed. Now we need to create a release pipeline to consume that package. So let's go back to our pipelines, and this time we'll select the release option. We could have used CI pipeline itself for the deployment, but it does not support Azure Artifacts as the upstream trigger. I don't know why, but that's just a limitation to it. So that's why we are creating a release pipeline. Hit new pipeline. Okay, and select Azure App Service Deployment. Hit apply. And this is a deployment stage. We are not deploying it to the slots, so that's why only one stage should be enough. Let's hit here, add an artifact. And in the previous video, we selected this option, the build option, because it was the pipeline build artifact. But now this is a artifact repository. So you select over here and select Azure Artifacts. Right? So this is the build. Now this should be available over here. So click on the drop down and Nike feed. Package type is npm. So select the npm package. View is optional, but I want this pipeline to be triggered when the package is promoted to a pre-release view. So let's select the pre-release view. And package name, I don't have anything now. That's why it's not visible in the drop down. So let's take the package name from the local view. It is this one. I'll just copy it and then change the view back to pre-release. Okay, enter the package name over here and the default version. Let's use the latest one, or you can specify at the time of release creation as well. Let's use the latest option. And there is an option if you don't want to extract the package, so that you can also use, but you can remove it for now and hit add. So the source artifacts has been set. Now we have to enable the trigger. So click over here, then enable. In enabled. Now let's go back to our deployment step. Hit on job, right? Select the Azure service connection. If it's not there, click over here and hit authorize. It should create a service connection for you after you log in, but make sure you have access to the project to create the service principal. Okay, I have logged in. Now it is authorizing and creating a service connection for me. Okay, it's done. Now let's go down and select Web App on Linux. App service name, it should be visible over here, the one that we have created, because we have authorized a user with the Azure service connection on that subscription. That is why it is able to pull the details. Okay, and then go to the next step. Let's select the agent pool as Ubuntu latest. Okay, everything looks good. Let's go to the deployment task. And over here, rest everything is being populated from the agent itself. But let's change the package or folder location by clicking over here. There are three dots after the package or folder. Click on that. It will show you something like this. And select the Azure artifacts and hit OK. So it has now changed the path to the build itself. Runtime stack. Again, let's select static site, because this is a Tailwind CSS project. So static site should be good. Then we need to add one more post deployment step. Okay, and create a inline script. We need to add an inline script after the deployment is completed to move the file to the correct directory, right? So we are doing, you can see copy -rf home site www root package and all the content inside the package folder to the www root directory, because we don't want it to be inside the package directory, otherwise it will not be rendered, right? So that's the change that we have to make, and that's it. Let's hit save, hit OK. If you go back to release pipeline, it has not created any release yet because the trigger is on the pre-release feed, right? So let's go to our Azure artifact and select the package, and from here you can click on promote. Now select a view to which this package has to be promoted to. Select the pre-release one and hit promote from here. Okay, so as soon as the package is promoted to pre-release, release pipeline should detect it. Let's go to releases, and it already started deploying it to the environment. So release one is triggered. Let's hit over here, and you see deployment in progress. You can view the logs from here. Is doing the deployment. It should take few seconds. So let me just pause the recording for a brief moment. Right. So it took around 4 minutes, but finally the job is completed. The application has been deployed. Let's have a look at the logs. It says successfully deployed web app to the app service, and it made all the changes. It ran the post deployment commands as well that we have given. This is step executing given script on kudu service. So kudu service is the interface that it provides us to interact with the web service environment. So I will show you what I mean by that. Let's head over to our website and let's see if it actually deployed the changes and if it is visible. Let's hit refresh. And yes, our application is up and running. And let's see. Yes, it is working as expected. It's responsive and everything is working fine. Let's head over to the app service. So this is the app service environment, right? If you face any issues, if you want to check out the logs, application specific, platform specific, or anything, this is the section where you need to go diagnose and solve problems. You go over there. It should be available over here where it says risk alert. Currently, the alert that is there, it is just asking me to upgrade the plan, and enable the health checks. So that's fine for now. But you can go down and see application logs, and there are all sort of different type of logs that it emits, and you can check that. Currently, there are no error. It only emits the std error. That's why you don't see anything. But if there was an issue, the log should be available over here, and there are these many other logs and metrics as well that you can view. So it is really handy in case of troubleshooting. Right, let's go back. And if you go down and go to the section where it says development tools, there are two options. So SSH is included inside this advanced tool. So let's click over here and then select this option where it says go. It will redirect you to the kudu console. So this is what I mean by that. It provides you an environment to interact with the web apps underlying host operating system. Otherwise, you don't get this feature in the past services. It provides you limited access to the environment so that you can log in, troubleshoot your issues, download, upload files if you want, and make some changes to it, right? So that's why it is there. And if you click on SSH from here, right, you should be able to SSH into the web app, right? And let's go to site www and hit lslrt. So these are the files that was deployed just now. So currently the time is 6:25 UTC. So it was deployed few minutes back. If you have followed the tutorial till here along with me, or you are planning to follow it after watching this video, make sure you clean up the resources after that. So if you delete your resource group, all the resources inside that should be deleted automatically. So just make sure to delete the resource group and you should be good. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this video was somewhat helpful to you in understanding the concept of Azure Artifacts and how do we use it in real-time project within Azure CI/CD pipeline. So if you got any value out of it, hit the like button and subscribe the channel if you are new here. I will see you tomorrow with the next video. So stay tuned for that and happy learning.